Hello children, welcome to Math Park. In our park, today we are going to learn about upper bound and lower bound. This is very important concept in the topic understanding measurements in IGCSE. Okay, taking it further, let us understand what are we going to learn today. So children, today you are going to learn how to find the upper and lower bound of the given quantities, and also you are going to learn application based questions based on this concept. So here we go about one question. Height of the door is 49 centimeter. Okay, the height of a door is 49 centimeter. The width of the sofa is 48.9 centimeter. Now you can see that the height of the door is 49, which is more than the width of the sofa. Now tell me, will this sofa fit if I have to take in the room? Okay, so you may think that since 49 centimeter is more, okay, and the width of sofa is less, and it will fit, okay, but it is not so. So if not, then why? So here you can understand that when we are finding the upper bound of the width of the sofa, it is 48.95, and which is very much closer to 49 centimeter. So that is why this sofa will not fit. Okay, so this is how the application of upper bound and lower bound. So please watch till end, children, to how to find the upper bound and lower bound of the given quantities. Okay, so we take one question here. If the length of a nail is given as 6 centimeter, correct to nearest centimeter, find the lower bound and upper bound for the length of a nail. Okay, so here we have a nail, and this 6 centimeter is lying exactly between 5 and 7. So lower bound is going to be halfway between 5 and 6. Halfway between 5 and 6 is exactly 5.5 centimeter. So the lower bound of the length of a nail is 5.5 centimeter, and upper bound is exactly halfway between 6 and 7. So the upper bound of the length of a nail is going to be 6.5 centimeter. So when we are asked the range of the length of the nail is between 5.5 and 6.5 centimeter. Okay, so to find the upper and lower bound, what do? We just go halfway before the number and after the number. Okay, so we take up another question, children. The mass of a box is 3.7 kg. The mass of a box is 3.7 kg. Correct to one decimal place. You have to write the upper and lower bounds for the mass of the box. The previous question was for the whole number. Now this is the decimal, children. So let us see how do we go about. So we have to see 3.7 should be between which two decimal places. So 3.7 will lie between 3.6 and 3.8. So the lower bound is going to be exactly halfway between 3.6 and 3.7. So halfway between 3.6 and 3.7 is going to be 3.65. That is how the lower bound of this measurement is going to be 3.65. Upper bound is exactly halfway between 3.7 and 3.8. So the upper bound is going to be 3.75. Got it, children? So what we need to remember here, if it is a decimal quantity, then this decimal is lying between which two decimals that we have to think of, and go exactly halfway before for the lower bound and halfway after for the upper bound. Okay, we take up another question, children. So here you have a rectangle whose length is 4.3 centimeter and width is, the rectangle has sides of length 4.3 centimeter and 6.6 centimeter. So the length is 6.6 and the width is 4.3. Okay, and this measurement is correct to nearest millimeter, which is exactly 4.3 centimeter. Means 4 centimeter and 3 millimeter, 6 centimeter and 6 millimeter. You are supposed to calculate the upper and lower bounds for the perimeter of rectangle. So how do we go about? So remember here what happens, children. Students usually what they do, they just find the perimeter using the given quantities, and then they find the upper and lower bound. So it is not to be done so. So what is to be done here? We first find the lower bound of the given quantities. So the lower bound for the width of the rectangle, which was 4.3 centimeter, is now 4.25, and the length lower bound is 6.6. 6.55 centimeter. And for the upper bound, we will use the upper bound of the length. 6.6 was the length, so upper bound is 6.65 centimeter and lower bound is 4.35 centimeter. Now to find the perimeter, what we do? We add all the sides or we use twice length plus breadth. So finding the lower bound for the perimeter, we add opposite sides of rectangle are equal, so we add all the lengths and the breadths, and here we get the lower bound as 21.6 centimeter. Got it? So what we need to do is first find the lower bound of the length and breadth and then add all the lengths to get the perimeter of the lower bound. To find the perimeter of the upper bound, what do? We add all the lengths which we have taken as upper bound over here, and here we get the upper bound for the perimeter of a rectangle as 22 centimeter. Got it? So what you have to remember here, first find the upper and lower bound of the dimensions given. Very, very important. First find the upper and lower bound of the dimensions and then go for calculating the perimeter or even if area is asked. Got it? Okay, let us take next question. So here you can see two planks of wood, okay, and the lengths of these planks are given. The length for the plank is 134 centimeter and the length of a plank is 223 centimeter. You are going to ask to calculate the upper bound of a total length of two planks. Now again, no error please, not to add these two. So very first thing what we need to do is we need to find the upper bounds of the lengths. Okay, so upper bound of a length of this plank is going to be upper bound for plank A plus upper bound for plank B. Upper bound for plank A is going to be 134.5 and upper bound for plank B is going to be 223.5. So we add them together and here we get the upper bound for the total length, which is 358 centimeter. Got it? Let us take another question. You are asked to calculate the upper bound for the difference. Okay, now when we are talking of upper bound for the difference, we talk of maximum difference. So very important, be attentive here children. So upper bound for plank B, okay, minus lower bound for plank A. So if we are subtracting the lower bound for plank A, only then we are going to get the maximum difference. So where we are calculating the upper bound for the difference in length, it is very, very important that you subtract lower bound of plank A from the upper bound of plank B. And here we go. So the upper bound is 223.5 and the lower bound for this is before this. So it is 133.5. And here we get the upper bound for the difference in length of two planks as 90 centimeters. Understood children? Rewind if and watch if not understood. Very, very important concept. Okay. So let us take one last question and be attentive. Okay. So here a question is, you are given the value of A, which is 4.5 to 1 decimal place, and value of B is 13 to the nearest whole number. Okay, find upper and lower bound for A plus B upon A. A very important thing is, first we find the upper and lower bounds for the values of A and B. So here we get the lower bound for A is 4.45 and the upper bound for A is 4.55. But we have already learned in previous slide how do we find the upper and lower bounds for the decimals. Okay, then the upper and lower bound for B, lower bound for B is 12.5 and upper bound for B is 13.5. Now what do we do if I have to find the upper bound of A plus B upon A? Very important, it is upper bound, right? So we should have a maximum value. So to find upper bound of A plus B upon A, we need to find the upper bound of A plus B divided by lower bound of A. So when we are dividing by the lesser value, we are going to get the maximum. Dividing by the lesser amount, we get the maximum. That is why here to find the upper bound of A plus B upon A, we need to divide upper bound of A plus B by lower bound of A. Got it? So here we go. We add the upper bounds of A and upper bounds of B and divide it by lower bound of A. And we get the upper bound of A plus B upon A as 4.0456. So now this is to be written for three significant figures. If you are asked to write for three significant figures, you just look for the fourth significant figure, which is 5. So if it is 5 or more, we just add 1 here. So that is how Up to 3 significant figures, we get as 4.05. Now the next part is finding the lower bound of a plus b upon a. What lower bound? So minimum value. So what we do here is we find lower bound of a plus b divided by upper bound of a. So when we divide by maximum value, we get the minimum value. So when in the denominator we have maximum value, we get the minimum value. So that is why very important, when we have to find the lower bound of a plus b upon a, we divide the lower bound of a plus b by upper bound of a. And this is how we go. So the lower bound of a is 4.45. The lower bound of b is 12.5. And dividing by upper bound of a, this is how we get it as, on calculating, 3.7252. So if I have to write up to 3 significant figures, I should look for the 4th significant figure, which is 5. Ignore that, add 1 to this. So 3.73 for 3 significant figures. Got it, children? Please rewind and watch if not understood. Okay? And stay tuned and subscribe if you have not. Share the video with the maximum. Sharing is caring.